All right, on this episode of the LPDS, we get into some minor tinfoil hat stuff. We get into the Yanks live stream recap and the blackout BS. We celebrate the mothers of the world out there this week for Mother's Day. We talk about birthdays and anniversaries, and I share an experience I had, an investigation I conducted internally, an internal LPDS investigation that I conducted, and my findings in the Junction. All that plus a Cage fact coming at you right now. All right, Jabronis, we're back. Welcome back to the Libretti Podcast Diary Show. I'm your host, Libretti, the show that talks about nothing but tries to find the lessons in everything, and we have a good time doing it. Hope everybody had a good week. A lot going on for me this past week, a lot of things, a lot of irons in the fire, keeping me busy, but also keeping my brain focused on, Spearhead and other stuff, and not so much on LPDS topics and things like that. Like, I forgot to post a question in the Instagram about, I guess, ways to not pick up chicks, things that guys do to try to pick up chicks that don't work. I forgot to post that to get more of your feedback, and remind people that they can call the hotline with their inputs on that. So it's just been a mentally busy week for me. Not bad stuff, just mentally busy as usual. So that's what's really been going on. I don't really have a lot, but I did a little investigating on some stuff I want to talk about in the Junction today. But first things first, let's just get this out of the way so you can eye roll quickly and be done with it. Still waiting on movement with the Epstein stuff. Still trying to find out why they unredacted photos of victims and names of victims and what happened to them, but redacted names of suspects. I mean, I know why, but I'm waiting for the cat to get out of the bag on all this stuff. It's just eternally frustrating and disheartening, to say the least. I haven't heard any updates on that fake alien invasion tinfoil hat theory. If anyone has heard anything, send them my way. I love to pick those crazy brains to find out what they know and what rabbit holes they're embedded in, if you will. So anyway, moving on. It's Mother's Day week. This posts on Mother's Day. By the time you tune into this, Mother's Day will probably have come and gone, but I hope you took time to at least speak to your mothers, to let them know you love them and you appreciate all that they've done for you. Even if you're adults and you get annoyed by them parenting you still, we're still their children. And that's something I try to remind myself in the heat of a Libretti argument or sports game on TV or being nagged to help them clean up the basement or anything like that. I always try to remind myself that, hey, they raised me, and they didn't neglect me. Parents make mistakes often, as we all do. We're all humans, but they try, and my parents did a pretty damn good job. And they always see us as children. No matter how old we are, no matter what we got going on, when Spearhead becomes this multi-million-dollar empire and the Brotherhood empire grows nationwide and worldwide, I'm still going to be handsome little Johnny that can't get out of his own way and needs parenting. And I get that. So take some time. I hope you did take some time to either spend it with your mother if you could, take her out, get her some flowers that she likes. We used to do breakfast in bed, which really meant my father would make some sort of weird concoction of breakfast. He liked to make deep dish omelets. He still does, actually. He likes to make in a cast iron skillet. He would make omelets, peppers and onions, and the whole works. Way too many vegetables for my taste for breakfast, especially as a kid. But I still like eggs and omelets. I'm still going to eat it. But he would make these deep dishers, like an inch thick, ton of eggs, ton of stuff and fixins and cheese and what have you. But he's a dry egg guy. Except when he makes his eggs sunny side up for himself, he likes his omelets and his scrambled eggs dry. And when he's making these deep dishes, he's not a flipper. He's not an omelet flipper. He wants a crust. He wants like a omelet, legit deep dish pizza style. And God love him, he burns it every single time. He burns the bottom of that omelet every single time. I never once remember in my entire existence a deep dish JPL3 special that wasn't burned at the bottom. I thought that's how omelets were made until I got them from somewhere else and realized, yikes, JPL3. But he would make that, and he would give her a nice slice of that, and then we would probably toast a Pop-Tart for her, something she would never eat. That's what we would do, is give her some crap that she would never eat, but then offer it to us. Oh, I don't eat Pop-Tarts, you eat them. Perfect. I toasted it just the way I liked it anyway, because I'm a little shithead kid. I only think of myself. And we would hang out with her in bed and bother her when she wanted solace. And that's what we used to do as kids. And now, we give a call, maybe some flowers. I'm not there physically anymore, so I give him a call on Sundays anyway. So it's perfect. We'll talk about what she did. I think Styx went over there this past weekend to go, spend time with her, but also eat all the cutlets. That's the Styx way. And then I believe she's doing something with my sister this weekend as well. I'm recording this obviously in the middle of the weekend, so I can't say for sure. I'm just predicting the future here, trying to. But make sure you take some time to appreciate your mothers on this Mother's Day. So, happy Mother's Day to everybody out there, all the moms out there. Great work. Moving on. A really quick Yankee Stream recap. For those of you who tuned in, you saw the shit show that was going on. And 95% of the shit show was due to MLB and Manfred blacking shit out. Blacking out games in certain regions. Wetcat sent me a video of another guy online complaining about how he's a Baltimore Orioles fan and he lives 16 hours away from Baltimore. And they were playing the Texas Rangers. Once again, the Rangers, I don't know why. They're always involved in this bullshit. And he lives 7 hours away from the Rangers, from Arlington. But he was still technically inside the Rangers region, the MLB region that they created for the Rangers. Which, again, boggles my mind that the Rangers that get that distance, nobody gives a shit about them outside of Dallas and Arlington area. Nobody, not even in Texas. And he had a blackout game because he couldn't watch the game. And they said, well, get the Rangers network on your cable, add it to your cable package so you can watch them for one series a year play the Orioles. And he's like, I got YouTube TV. They don't have it on YouTube TV, and I'm not spending even more money on cable just to add that on there and all this other bullshit. And he brought up a good point. Nobody hates MLB fans more than the MLB and the commissioner of the MLB. Because just like I've said 1,000 times, they don't give a shit. Rob Manfred does not give a shit. He only cares about money. And if you actually wanted to grow the game and care about the game, this blackout crap would be non-existent in 2026. But regardless, we were dealing with that. So we had stream issues on the game to actually be able to watch the game. At one point, the stream cut out. The game cut out. It actually happened nationwide. The game cut out and switched to the Knicks basketball game. So everybody was watching. So not only were there blackout issues, there were network issues, and then I was having internet issues because I can't get the game any other way. There's another way I go about getting the games here locally for Rangers and Astros local games, basically when they play the Yankees, and it relies on the Wi-Fi and the internet solely. And when I'm streaming and watching that, there's buffering, there's delays, there's lag, and then there in turn creates lag on the stream itself, the connectivity of the stream on YouTube. So it was a perfect storm of shit, and we cut the stream. Thankfully, it was a blowout game. The Brewers absolutely dominated the Yankees, unfortunately, but thankfully, and we cut the stream. We only had 5 innings, 5.5 innings. I think we went 6.5, maybe. I don't remember exactly, but we had to cut the stream because it was not a fun experience for the viewer. I couldn't even really get to the comments because they couldn't hear me or see me respond to comments and stuff. So I will do a better job in the future for everybody out there who tunes into those streams of picking games based on what's not being blacked out, because then we don't want the domino effect to happen again. Like right now, I've got the game on MLB.TV in the background and no issues. So I'll do better at that. I think we had a little fun throughout it, though. I mean, you can go check it out on YouTube. I think you'll see we had some fun. There was a 2-minute spurt where I didn't know that I was frozen video and audio. And I started a rant, and then it was a blackout. And then it pops back in to the stream, and I'm still ranting. So everyone in the comments was like, you froze for 2 minutes and you're still ranting about Manfred and the blackout bullshit and the streaming bullshit. So I thought it was pretty funny. I think we still had a good time. We always try to make things work and have a good time doing it, no matter what happens. So this coming week for the stream, we'll pick a better timeline, and then there's going to be some weeks where I'm not here because of work trips and vacations and stuff. But stay tuned for all that. Anyway, moving on. 2 more quick things I want to get into. First, we got very excited here at the LPDS compound. We got a new couch cover for Randy to be able to hang out on the couch without absolutely burying my couch in white dog hair. I have a dark couch. Stupid. That was another rookie mistake on my part, but it was a recliner couch. And that's all I saw was recliner, and I forgot about the color. But we got a light color cover now, and he's got to break it in a little bit. I think he's still trying to get used to the smell of the new couch, and he'll get there. But a very exciting time here in the LPDS compound for old Randy. It was his birthday on May 5th. He is 6 years old now. So that was his little birthday present. He's got a couch access. So send him some love. It was my nephew's birthday on May 4th as well. So big birthday week. We had some other birthdays this week. I forgot who else. I said happy birthday to them during Bonji, his birthday, I believe. And then family show Terrence had a birthday this past week. So big birthday week here in May. Mother's Day, big, first week of May is a big week. And then the coup de grace, actually, second to Mother's Day. Mother's Day is a coup de grace for this past week, last week. 6-year anniversary on May 8th of the LPDS. And that's the last thing I want to bring up here before we get into the good stuff. 6 years of doing this. And I'm pretty happy about that. I think it may be. All right, Randy, relax, buddy. I think it may be the most successful, unsuccessful podcast out there right now. I think there are a load of podcasts that come and go that even have success and still leave after a couple years. There have been how many podcasts has Dave Portnoy done where he'll get thousands of listens and tunes and views and streams each episode, and he's done after a year or 2 years or 6 months or whatever it is. Guy's got podcast ADD. I've seen other very successful podcasts end after a couple years. And then you have the millions of them that do 3 episodes, nobody tunes in, and they're done. And we have done at least 1 episode a week, every week, without fail, for 6 years. And still nobody listens except for the 15 ride or dies. We'll get a couple of popularity hits here and there if we're talking about juicy topics like Taylor Swift or Livy Dunn, Joe Rogan, big names like that. That'll happen every once in a while, but the ride or dies have been there since day one, and this is without a doubt the most successful. This is as quintessential an LPDS situation as you can possibly get in my world, in the Libretti world, as you know. And it's the same with Spearhead. Spearhead's going to blow up like the Hindenburg, in a good way, though, and be wildly successful, way more successful than the LPDS. I'm not worried about that. But if this doesn't describe the world of Libretti, I don't know what does. It doesn't matter about money. It's not about popularity. It's about doing what's right and what's fun and what brings people joy and what brings us joy here, and never quitting and just enduring. Everybody else is starting up hot, a new podcast, a bunch of hot chicks with cleavage doing podcasts, a bunch of famous athletes doing podcasts, this and that, and they're flashes in the pan. All of them. Couple months, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, what have you. And then they're done. And then you have all the weaklings coming in, 3 episodes, 5 episodes. Oh, I'm only getting 10 people watching. I'm going to quit. Nobody cares. I'm done with it. And they give up. Not the LPDS. Every week, rain or shine. The post office should take a page of the LPDS handbook. And actually, so should the Libretti Leadership Lab, to be honest with you, because I gotta get more consistent with that again. As I get more time again, I gotta build a schedule for that. But the LPDS endures. So all that's to say is thank you guys. Another year down. Infinite more to come. There's no stopping this. This is not this is about time to wrap things up with the LPDS. Nuh-uh. I don't care if it's the 12 of us for the next 60 years until we all die out. As long as we're all enjoying, as long as we're all showing up each week and having a good time doing it, we're going to do it. And when it's time to end, we'll make that decision together. But that's not coming anytime soon. So thank you guys, as always, for tuning in and being the ride or dies. Another year down and many more to come. With that, let's get into the good stuff. We'll step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right. Today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by Margarine Fingers. Are you watching your weight and switched to margarine because the food industry tricked your stupid ass into thinking it was actually healthier than real butter, but you also crave that sweet release of a fresh chicken tendy? Then get yourself some Margarine Fingers today. Tony Riggs has devised an OSHA-prohibited means of coating a stick of margarine in chicken breading, deep frying it, and bringing it to the people for all to enjoy. So to get your fix of seed oils and crispy chicken breading all in one bite, head on over to the Price Club. And if you use the promo code, I can't believe it's not chicken tendies, you'll get 29% off your first bag. Do you guys remember that? There are people in my family, within the last year, I had this conversation with them. And when I say conversation, I mean I asked them the question, and they got mad at me. Do you guys remember growing up how everything was margarine? Country Crock, can't believe it's not butter. Smart Balance came out, and they were all saying, because butter's bad for you. Butter's bad. It's got saturated fats or whatever it is, high in fat. Go with margarine. And then within the last couple years, 5 or so years, it's been revealed that margarine is fucking poison for you because it's all seed oils and chemicals and bad shit because it's not real. It's practically made in a lab. And that real, natural, just dairy butter from Cream is actually good, not bad for you. It's got good fats in there. And I had a family member that still was using margarine. And I was like, hey, it's 2025. Is it cheaper? Is that why you guys got margarine? And they call me names. They go, no, stupid. It's healthier than butter. I was like, yikes. I said, I got bad news for you. You've been duped. But look, I don't judge people. You want to get margarine, get margarine. I don't care, but don't, at least know the truth. At least know the truth. Anyway, Margarine Fingies. Go for it if you want. The Cage fact. Now let's just get to the Cage fact. Michael Figgis, he's a director of the movie Leaving Las Vegas. Nic Cage's only Academy Award victory came from Leaving Las Vegas. I don't know how it's his only one. Whatever. But Mike Figgis has been doing the rounds recently because he's got, I don't know if it came out already. I probably did. He did a documentary on Francis Ford Coppola's making of his movie. The movie was called Megalopolis with Shia LaBeouf and Adam Driver. And apparently it was a big flop and a disaster behind the scenes. And he wanted to document it. He wanted to have a documentary on it to find out the ins and outs of the movie and why Francis Ford Coppola had so much trouble with everything and all this other stuff. So he's doing the rounds, and they asked him about how he met Francis Ford Coppola, and he said, I met him through his nephew, Nic Cage. Francis Ford was at some party that they were at together after the filming, some rap party or some shit, and they got introduced, Nic Cage introduced them, and they became friends over the years, like long-distance friends that they kept in touch over the years, and then he was, able to get in the door to do this documentary with him. But the interviewer went off on a tangent, obviously, because he's like, oh, Nic Cage, everyone loves Leaving Las Vegas. They're doing, I think it's a 30-year re-release anniversary of Leaving Las Vegas that they're doing this year. So they were talking about that, and the guy said, hey, I have to ask, was there any craziness trying to rein in Nic Cage on the set there? And I'm pretty confident we already talked about this, but because we know everything about Nic Cage over here in in the Cage segment. When we're stepping into that cage, we know it all. That cage is chock full of knowledge. But he's like, yeah, I distinctly remember, Nick is, his style of acting, he wanted to get into the part of this alcoholic who was drinking himself to death. So obviously he wanted to be drunk as much as possible to feel that. Of course Nic Cage wanted to do that. But I said, hey, no drinking during filming. Like you could do it outside to get into the part, whatever, but I don't want you drinking during filming. Well, one scene, Cage downs a whole bottle of vodka, and he's pretty tuned up. And in that scene, it's a casino scene. He's doing gambling. He's drunk. He's supposed to be drunk in the movie as well. And he goes into this chaotic, like, hissy fit in this scene, and he flips the table and destroys the casino table, and it's chaos and it's mayhem. But it was so good for the story and such a well performed, situation that they left it into the movie. And then it's one of the best scenes in the movie when he did that. When he's got one of his breakdowns from being an alcoholic and he goes berserker in the casino. And he said, that's just one of the, when we say reel in Nic Cage, it's really just, it's almost just like get a camera on him. Make sure he's not going to get arrested when he's doing one of these methods where he's a alcoholic or something like that. Make sure he's not going to get arrested and hurt people, but otherwise, just start rolling the camera and you're going to get gold. And that's exactly what they got. They got literal gold in the Academy Award. So, just, like you expect anything less from the great one. Anyway, that's the Cage fact. There you go. You're welcome. All right, moving on to the Junction. Spin the logo up. Now, I've been doing an investigation the past couple weeks here. And this is an internal investigation, okay? This is not necessarily a war with anybody. It's not an LPDS war. We're not in combat. It's not an undercover mission. Nothing like that. But I had to do an investigation because over the last, I'd say, 3 or 4 weeks, probably 3 or 4 weeks now, I have had conversations with no less than 5 women. This is not a brag, by the way. I don't think talking to 5 women in 5 weeks is anything to brag about. But no less than 5 women over the past several weeks that I have matched with on dating sites, dating apps, the online outdoor cat. How you doing? And the same outcome has happened. Now, I'm not here to talk about getting rejected per se, in the sense that women shouldn't be rejecting me, pieces of shit, this and that. It was just in the manner of which these conversations ended. I don't even want to call them relationships. These encounters ended, made me launch an internal investigation, an introspective investigation, if you will. Because I had to get to the bottom of this. Every single one of them, okay? At least 5 of them hit it off real well in the beginning, okay? There's banter. There's flirting. There's banter that includes inquisitive questions, getting to know them, learning about each other in that regard, building up a spark to the point where we're going to, meet up for a date. And all of them started off smoothly, which doesn't happen often with me. Like I said, I'm an acquired taste. It takes a little bit to get going in that department, as we've discussed in previous episodes. these were all going smooth. A lot of conversations, a lot of back and forth, nothing inappropriate. It wasn't one of those like quote unquote business transaction type of relationships we were building, building up for. Nothing like that. And every single time I started directing the conversation towards finding out their schedule so we can meet up for a date, Ghost City. And when I say Ghost City, I don't mean tapering off or saying, oh, no, I'm busy this week. I'm going away. Like the usual excuses people get when they're not that interested or when they're not comfortable enough yet to actually meet up. They say, oh, let's talk a little bit more. No, I'm talking ghost, dead. It's like they all died. Like they were all on burner phones and they broke their cell phones and disappeared into oblivion. And I couldn't figure out why. And the reason I launched this investigation is because I'm a madman. You see? And I have to know why. That was the initial thought, is what is going on out there? Is this some sort of trickery going on? Are they all in cahoots? Are these all burner accounts, catfish of the same person doing this? That maybe they thought I wronged them or I'm lying to them and they want to, I don't know what. So I had to find out. I'm too much of a madman in a mental case. So I launched this investigation to figure out. At first, I was looking at possible any sort of forums or Reddit pages or anything like that. Apps out there. They have the T app, which apparently is an app that women can sign on and they can provide intel and pros and cons of guys in the area that they date, so that if other women swipe on them, they have the intel, they have the red flags up at, already, sort of like a Megan's Law for dating. And it's not nearly as bad as that. It shouldn't be anyway. Obviously, Megan's Law is if you're a sex offender and you move to a new place, you have to tell everybody in the neighborhood within a certain radius that you're a sex offender. Which, in my mind, if you're a sex offender in that sense, pedo stuff, you shouldn't be out. You shouldn't even be in prison. You should be 100 feet under. But anyway, that's a different subject altogether. But this T app is where women go on there, and then there's Facebook groups, private groups that women do the same thing in a particular area. They say, "Don't date this guy. He's a cheater. He has a roster. He's a piece of shit. He's a criminal. He stole this from me. He lied and he said this. He's actually married. Don't." Whatever it is, they put it out there. So I'm wondering initially, am I on one of these apps? Am I in these groups? Are people talking to me and then they're going on to these groups and then somebody's telling them, "Hey, this guy's a criminal." Maybe they're spreading lies about me because I wasn't into them, so they just start lying on these things saying he's a bad guy, he's a criminal, whatever it is. Couldn't find a damn thing. And I did what I had to do to find out. Okay? The access was granted to get to those groups and pages and stuff to find out the information needed. And I couldn't find a damn thing. Nothing in there. Now, I didn't do enough digging to where, like, I am sure somewhere somebody mentioned in this particular region they had a boring date or a no connection date or whatever with me, and that's fine. Like, that's, if you didn't have a connection or you thought I was boring, that's fine. I was really looking for something really incriminating and malicious that would be a lie, so I can try to do damage control in the sense of like reporting it and trying to find ways to make sure the truth comes out. But I didn't find anything. And I'm asking around, I'm chat GPTing, and I don't understand what it is that was going on. And I am poring over these conversations, looking to see if I said something accidentally inappropriate, or if I pushed too fast, or if they said something early on in our conversations that I forgot about, where they said like, "Oh, I don't like to meet up so soon," or "I don't like coffee dates," or whatever it is. And because I missed that, or because I forgot that, they're like, "No, I'm out. Guy clearly can't remember instructions or this or that or whatever. He's not the one for me." I poured over these conversations like a nut job, looking for reasons why. Because I'm not a bad guy, and this is. We're gonna try to wrap this up quickly, folks. Okay, because I can go on and on exactly about how in depth I went to these conversations, and I was doing play by play in my head. I was looking at their response, and then I was like, okay, well, I said this. Should I have said something else? And there was only maybe a few times where it was like in my head, I was like, okay, I could have said it this way or responded that way, and maybe that would have done something a little bit better. But at the end of the day, there was nothing. There was nothing in there, nothing egregious went on in any of these conversations where I was like, oh yeah, I fucked up big time. And then I came to the realization of this. And it's something that I knew about my entire adult life when it comes to dating and relationships. And everybody knows this too. We all know it on the outside, on the surface. But in the heat of wooing, of seduction, if you will, of trying to find your one, you get in the fog of war and you forget about the basics sometimes. And after I verified, this is what I really wanted to verify, that there was nothing out there that I've done in my life that is genuinely regrettable and abhorrent, is that how you pronounce it? Abhorrent or bad, illegal, anything like that, where I would say, oh shit, I am not a dateable human being. I need to get better. I need to address this. Like I said, I'm an acquired taste, but I'm not a criminal. I'm not an abuser. I've never once cheated. Ever. I've never done anything like that. I've never had a breakup where somebody felt like scared, like they had to leave for their own safety. All my breakups have been, we fell out of love or connection. It just wasn't working out. Things like that. All standard breakup reasons on one side or the other. And there was no lies about me. Like I said, I wanted to look to see if somebody put out lies about me because they were angry because I didn't feel a connection and I told them so. There's no illegitimate children out there. That was another thing I was looking at. Like maybe somebody put out there like, hey, this guy is impregnated me and then he left and he's not paying child support and this and that that I have no idea about. That's not out there. So after I verified that maybe I'm an acquired taste and I'm fine with that. That's okay. But I'm still a good human being. And I'm still a catch and I'm still the total package for somebody else out there. And while this string of weird coincidental ghosting situations happened over the last few weeks all in a row, that's all it was just a coincidence that it happened that way. And I am not sitting here to say I am the best and women are the worst and it's all their fault. The only thing that I would blame these particular ladies on is the manner of which they stopped the conversation. I don't like ghosting. If conversations end of their own volition, that's one thing. But just to stop and ignore somebody without just saying, even, hey, I'm busy or I'm not really interested anymore, whatever. Ghosting is just cowardly. That's all it is. And it's very easy to do if you haven't met with somebody and it's just over text. And I get that. But I'm never going to ghost somebody. Like I said, I might fizzle a conversation out of its own volition, its own momentum. But I'm not gonna ghost. If somebody messages me, I'm gonna respond, and and if they don't pick up the hints that it's winding down, if you will, then I'll let them know as respectfully as possible. And they may not like that, and that's one of the things I thought. Maybe I did that to somebody, and they thought it was still ghosting, or they thought it was whatever, and they had to go bash me somewhere in some group. I don't know. That's the only thing I would blame these women on or get a little frustrated. If I had to give them feedback, it'd be that. Otherwise, the realization is that they're just not the right ones for me. It is just the acquired taste that is Libretti that just didn't jive with these gals. They responded in a way that I don't agree with, by ghosting, and they all happened to do it in a row, which made me thought something was afoot. And if they all came together and did it for that reason alone, just to drive me nuts for a couple of weeks, then bravo, ladies, because that's what I did. I drove myself crazy trying to find out what the fuck was wrong with me, or what lies were being told about me if I couldn't find anything wrong with me in that sense. There's plenty wrong with me, but not in the sense that people would do that so often and so aggressively. And that's what I realized, that they're just not right for me. That it's, in my opinion, it's their loss. I have nothing to hide out there, folks. Nothing in my life. You could say whatever you want about me or about my past. It's nothing I'm ashamed of. The only thing you can do is lie and slander my name. That's how you're going to get my attention and make me look worse than I am. That's the only... and like I said, I'm not saying I'm a perfect person. I've made mistakes. I've done immature things in the past, for sure. But it's nothing I'm ashamed enough to, I'm not ashamed. I made mistakes. I'm a human being. If somebody brings that up and they said, hey, somebody told me, I saw on this app that you went out on 4 dates with this girl and then you broke it off. What the hell? What gives? I'll tell. I have no problem telling. Or, hey, I saw you quit this job when you were 19 and you didn't tell anybody. You just left and you gave them no notice and this and that. Yeah, I was a stupid kid. I quit the job. I didn't give 2 weeks. Whatever it is, whatever I've done in my past, I have no problem talking about. I have no problem addressing. And if I knew that was a mistake, I have no problem admitting that. I have nothing to hide. And if anybody out there is not interested in me, and I pour my effort into them when it comes to dating and relationships, and it doesn't work out, in my opinion, that's their loss. I'm never going to be disrespectful to them. I'm never going to give them a reason to justify treating me poorly or disrespecting me in any sort of way. But it's their loss. There might not be a connection. They might just have the feelings, and I get that. There's no logic behind feelings and attraction. I understand that completely. Sometimes it's just not there. I've been on many encounters with women that I just wasn't feeling it. They were still good people. I would never bash them or anything. And that's what this ended up being. And the lesson here is sort of twofold, folks. The first one is, don't drive yourself crazy trying to figure out why people aren't into you in the dating world. It's not worth it, and it's none of our damn business. And let me clarify that. Easy over there, Randy. Let me clarify that a little bit. Trying to find out why and find the logic behind why somebody that's a typical male thing to do. Whether it's because they want to get better or because they want to argue and debate on why the woman is wrong for not, for whatever their reasons are. That's a very typical male thing that we do is we want to know why. Like, why didn't you want to go on a second date? Why didn't you want to meet up? Why didn't you want to marry me? And again, it could be for a couple of reasons. I always want to know why, so that if I'm doing something that's not attractive or whatever, I always wanted to get better. If there's something that I can improve on, I want to get better. But there's other guys out there that have the ego that want to know why, so that they can argue to these people why they're actually wrong about it. Oh, you didn't like me because of this and that. Well, actually, I don't do this and that. You just thought that way, and therefore you're wrong, and therefore we should get married now. I'm certainly not doing that. I'm not trying to coerce and win an argument and a debate with someone just to get them to date me. That's crazy. And I know crazy because I am crazy. And that's crazy. That's too crazy for me. But I always want to know why. I always want to get feedback from everybody in every facet of life, mainly so I can work on improving myself. But when it comes to dating and relationships, as long as you're a good human being, who cares why? If they didn't like that you like to make phone calls instead of texting, or you like to text as opposed to phone calls, and that's why, don't change who you are for that person who rejected you. They're gone. Stay true to yourself, which is the second lesson. Stay genuine and true to yourself, because the right person is going to like all that shit. They're going to like texting or phone calls, whatever you prefer. They're going to like coffee dates over extravagant lobster dinners on the first date. They're going to like all the same shit that you're into in that regard. You being you and genuine is what they're attracted to, what they enjoy. You changing yourself, thinking you're trying to improve yourself, you're really just catering to people that don't like you. And now you're becoming someone you're not, and you're gonna just keep getting more and more rejections that way. People are not going to be attracted because you can feel it. You can feel when somebody is trying, even if it's a little bit, to be something they're not. Even if it's for good intentions. Most people can sense that. Or they don't sense it, and after several months of going out with someone, they see the real you, and they're like, wait a second. I'm not into that. You kind of tricked me, and nobody wants that either. So first things first. Mind your own business on the why. It's none of our business why someone is not into us. I say this about everything, not just relationships. Other people's opinions about me are none of my business. And they're exactly that, an opinion. Don't let it affect you. And that's what the mistake I made is I let it affect me because I started thinking, what's wrong with me? Why is this specific thing happening to me? And that was a mistake, folks. That was a mistake. I did a thorough investigation. I want to say this. I'm proud of how good I am at investigating things. I am not proud at the specific thing I decided to investigate this go around. And I can admit that. It was a fun learning lesson though. But it's none of my business what other people think of me or why they're not interested in me in a dating perspective. It's none of our business what other people's opinions are of us. Solicited or unsolicited. I'll ask for feedback on ideas I have or things I'm doing to make sure I'm on the right path towards the goals I want, and I try to communicate that. Everybody here in the LPDS community and the Brotherhood knows that, for business ideas and guidance and mentorship on spearheading life in that regard, I'm all about getting feedback and advice. But as far as what people think of me as a human, it's none of my business. I don't care. I can't let it affect me because it's based on their own perspective, not mine. And if somebody doesn't like me, why am I trying to waste my time trying to get them to like me? Why am I going to try to change who I am to get somebody to like me who doesn't like me? There's 8 billion people in this world. Enough people will like you throughout your lives that you don't have to go chasing people who don't like you and don't have good opinions of you. And I, hand up, made that mistake of digging too deep for something so silly and stupid. And the second lesson is just stay true to yourself, stay genuine. The right people will enter your circle as long as you have good values and morals and you're disciplined in sticking to those values and morals and holding strong on your boundaries in your life when it comes to those values and morals and ethics. The right people will be in your sphere of influence. They'll be in your orbit. They'll be in your circle, in your brotherhood. And that goes with family. That goes with friends. That goes with relationships. The right one will come around. And I had to remind myself of that in the mirror and give myself that lesson, reteach myself that lesson. And I want you guys to learn from my mistakes. Because it was embarrassing going through all this wasted effort. It was 100% a waste of effort. It was time and effort spent for zero. Nothing came of it. The only thing that came of it was the realization of what a waste it was. It served as a reminder of what a waste it was. So learn from LPDS mistakes like we've done week in and week out for the past 6 years. And that's how we're going to learn, grow, and improve. Learn from the mistakes of others so that we don't make them ourselves. Unfortunately, I made that mistake, but now you guys can learn from me, all you other outdoor cats out there. But not just about dating. Even if you're an indoor cat, never change who you are. If you're a good person and you have good morals and values and you have those boundaries, never change who you are. And that's all I got to say about that. Before we go, very quickly, the big three, the 3 pillars to staying strong and being a better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being, being able to spread that positivity and goodness to all those around you and throughout the land. Number 1, exercise every day. Do something every day to improve your fitness and health and wellness, physically, mentally, or emotionally. Number 2, the hardest one to do, don't be a shitty person. Be a kind person. When the opportunity arises to be negative or shitty, even if somebody deserves it, take a deep breath, take the LPDS step back, detach from those negative emotions, and just remove yourself from the situation. That'll minimize the negativity going on in your life and around you, and it'll allow you the capacity internally to go focus on more positive, productive things like exercising. Number 3, the most important one, be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives. And you can do this each day by taking time to think about one good thing in your life and what your life would be like without that thing. And that'll immediately put you in a state of gratitude. And then you can take action on that gratitude to pay it forward, if you will, to bring joy and gratitude to others around you as well. And the more you're in a state of gratitude, the easier it'll be for you to not be a shitty negative person. And in turn, the more capacity you'll have to go focus on more positive, productive things in your lives like exercising every day. And if you do these three things a little bit each and every day, repetition, 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 I promise you all, you'll be a better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being, be able to spread that positivity, goodness to all those around you throughout the land. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends and enemies and put those notifications on and hit that hotline. Damn, hit that hotline. 202-670-1114. Almost forgot the number for a second. I missed the calls. Send the number to anyone. Put it on an application. Put it somewhere so somebody calls the hotline so we can enjoy the call together. 202-670-1114. Thank you guys again. I love you all. Stay strong.